Hi guys, we are live here with another episode of We Are the Girls in Claret and Blue. I'm Ali and I'm joined by my co-host Reese. This week we're going to talk about the massive comeback against Brighton last Sunday, the David versus Goliath task we've got this Sunday with Arsenal in our first round of the FA Cup, but we're also going to do a massive rundown of all of the transfers in this window for the FA WSL as the window closed at 5 o'clock this evening. So I'm going to start with Reese. Sunday, that, to use the football cliche, that was truly a game of two halves.
I mean, I was going to start with that. Yeah, it was a game of two halves on Sunday. I mean, first half, we watched the game together, and we both said, this is the worst performance, first half display of the season for me. I thought we were awful. I thought we were lackluster. I thought we was wasteful with possession. And Brighton used their system really well of sitting behind the ball and counter-attacking us, and we just couldn't deal with it. For me, I think the first half did emphasise a bit that we can't seem to play our system with that back four. We were trying to play through the middle too much, and as soon as Brighton got used to that in the first 10 minutes, they shut us out completely. However, saying that, I think even though Lehman won that game on the pitch, I actually think Matt Beard won it for us. The tactical changes, the substitutions when we were still struggling with a back five were fantastic. Full credit to Matt for the win. I think in the second half we looked like a completely different side. We were starting to play with flair. We was using the wings more effectively, and really giving Brighton something to think about at any moment. I think the player for me that was my man of the match woman of the match at course of the 90 minutes was Kate Longhurst. I think she won us that game as well. Courtney in the first half with them saves, we could have been 6-0 down if it wasn't for Courtney. So it was a team performance, but I think for me, three players stuck out at that game, and that was Longhurst, Brosnan, and towards the end, obviously Lehman.
See, I think you can't talk about the match without mentioning Grace Fisk. Excuse me. Who? I'm going to die. I still have laryngitis. Who absolutely dominated in that was her and Jilly managed to. Oh, excuse me. Kate's gone to get me a drink.
It's all right, Ali. We have all night. Don't worry.
But yeah, Grace was an amazing defender. She was attacking as well. So, attacking defender, which we needed. She was going up to the Brighton players. She was giving a lot of oomph. And I think, again, we could have been 6-7-0 down if having for Grace and Jilly.
Yeah, definitely. I think what we can see there is a start of a really good partnership. They both seem to understand their roles really well, but they also understand how each other play. To be honest, I think this is a really early statement, but I actually think Phil Neville should be looking at that partnership for England myself. If them two play that well continuously, I think they really have to consider them two for probably, if not the Olympics this year, the Euros next year, because I think that partnership, if it continues, is probably the best in the league for me at centre-back.
Yeah, absolutely. We all were worried when Brooke left us, but I think Grace is coming to her own and she's definitely going to become something that, like I said last week, we think we could possibly looking at a future England captain.
I think the great thing about Grace as well, Ali, when you look at the full long-term aspects of the club, is she can become our captain as well. And one of the main strengths about our club throughout its history has been great English talent, and I think Grace is going to add to that. If we keep hold of her as well, because if she keeps on playing like that every week, she is going to attract some big clubs. So Grace has got a really good future, and the good thing for us is, Ali, she can only get better.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's talk about the first half though, because the first half we were absolutely dire. We looked rusty. We were giving, I'm gonna say it as it is, we were giving the ball away too quickly. Brighton, we gave too much space. Their goal was probably one of the scrappiest goals I've ever seen, and it was quite funny because you could hear a pin drop when they scored until you could hear Jilly. Because she let her feelings know very clear to both the linesman and the ref, and to be honest, I'm surprised she didn't get booked for dissent.
I'll tell you what, at one moment when she was steaming towards the ref, I was thinking in my head, please Jilly, don't hit him, because I thought she was gonna really hit him one, to be honest.
You know, and I think Kate also was not happy with the ref. I know I made the fatal error saying, "Oh, I don't mind this ref. He seems to be quite good." That didn't last very long.
I did warn you early on, Ali, that you've just jinxed it as soon as you said that. However, you wasn't to know, to be fair. But I think that Brighton goal, one thing that really frustrates me about that is, if we had goal line technology at the highest level of women's football, we don't rely on, I'm going to have to say it, crap officials to make these decisions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I believe it was at the end of the first half or beginning of the second half. Bonach got a boot to the back.
That was the first half.
Yeah, got a knee to the back, and the linesman did nothing about it.
You know what really frustrated me about that was with the linesman. He was paying more attention of retaliating to the fans behind the goal that were rightly having a go at him than dealing with the situation and talking to the referee about what happened to help him with his decision.
Yeah, no, he was busy, yelling at
to respond to fans in what is a professional game. So you're practically now, because you're in the professional women's football, being a professional linesman is amateurish. You know, we really do have to up the quality of these referees, and I think that incident there of a linesman retaliating to fans really does sum up how amateurish these referees are.
Yeah, no, you know, we've been saying this since the beginning. Well, you know, the season, that the standard of reffing in the women's game is appalling, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better any quickly. You're right, though. Brighton managed to work out our game pretty quickly in the first half, and we still weren't quite working on the wings. And it was like Bonach had mountains of space. We weren't getting the ball to her. You know, we had who was we had on the other wing? Was it Kernahan?
Oh God. Hold on. Yes, I think so. Or was it I don't know if it was Lehman or not.
No, they had Lehman.
I think we'll go with role. Okay, so it must have been Kiernan then.
Yeah, Kiernan, and they just weren't, you know, using them. And like, bless Leanne, she was trying her best to get them out. The thing, but it wasn't, the pressure on her just wasn't happening, and they closed us down quickly because we were just running in the centre. You know, you could pretty much predict it the first half. It would go Brosnan to either Jilly or Fisk, then down to Darley or Midag, down to Lehman. That's what we were doing in the middle, and Brighton were like, well, this is pretty easy to work out, and could intercept very quickly, especially between Midag and Darley. Like, they got in quite quickly. Tess, God bless her, wasn't the sharpest on the pitch. She was getting better, but she's still, I think, working out some kinks, because this is her first full season back since she did her ACL in.
Yeah, I definitely think we can see that a bit.
Yeah. So first half, to be honest, was a disaster. Let's call it
I
what
mean,
it was.
I'm sure you'll agree with me, Ali, with the statement. I said it at the start of the show. It was our poorest 45 minutes of the season. I probably haven't seen us play that bad in the 2 years. Well, in the 2 years we've been professional, actually.
You have not made the trip up to Manchester City because I've seen them play them both times, and
Okay, fair enough.
played on similar grounds in the day. But full credit to Matt Beard, and he turned around and said it. He got his tactics wrong first half, so we changed it. Imagine that, a manager listening to what's going out on the pitch and actually changing something instead of just, sticking to what they think they know. And Reece got his blessed back five. They changed the formation. We brought on Julia, which I thought was a huge difference. I've just remembered who the other winger was. It was Galabarachi.
There we go.
But we brought on Julia, who has, since coming back, has made a huge difference because she's such a playmaker. Number 10. She's playing that number 10 role beautifully. Like she was instrumental in the goal against Tottenham the week before, and she was instrumental in Lehmann's second goal as well. So having Julia back has been a huge improvement for us.
I think she has to start against Arsenal.
Yeah, without doubt. I think she's fit enough now that we can get her back for that. So the second half was completely different. We were utilising our wings better, and we say that Kate was our player of the match, and I stand by that because, to quote my Kate, she powered up. I don't know if it was frustration. I don't know if it was like Matt gave her an absolute rollicking, or she was just like, right, someone's got to take charge of the situation in midfield, and it's going to be me. But she just powered, and she was like, right, we are not going to lose this game. And even though at least she got the last touch on the first goal, it was pure Kate. It was literally, you watched that run up to that goal. She led them on such a merry dance. It's untrue.
I mean, that step over she done before she crossed that ball to Lehmann was perfection. To do that under pressure from a defender and do it with such elegance and ease.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Absolutely fantastic. But the statement from Kate to Brighton that I'm not going to mess around this game was actually early on when it was right near us, Ali. Remember the tackle where I can't remember what Brighton player it was. Kate just smashed into her and won the ball.
Yep.
And that was a statement of, if you want to mess with my team, you got to mess with me first. And it just continued throughout the game.
Because I remember the few Brighton fans that were there were calling for a foul, and it was like, no, that was a very cleverly timed legal tackle. So we talked about that. And then the second goal was pure Alicia in the fact that she got the ball like at the centre spot and just ran and slotted it home. Which, I mean, you should have heard the roar that went up at Rush Green when that went in. We even had a pitch invasion.
Yeah, we did. And I nearly fell over the rails, actually, in celebration. So I think everybody maybe got a bit too excited with the celebrations. But the crowd was really good on Sunday. I think it was one of the best. I think.
Absolutely.
I think there was maybe like a French connection going on there because there was a load of kids from France watching the game and really creating that strong atmosphere. And one thing I'd actually really like to emphasise is that Sebastian Haller was watching. As far as I'm aware, it was off his own back to after training go and watch that game. So well done to Sebastian for that.
Yeah, because normally if they're there in an ambassador role, you'll get it announced over the tannoy that Carlton Cole's there or Antonio's there or something like that. But that does look like it was Haller decided to stay off his own back and support the girls, which more full credit to him. And I hope to see more West Ham men's players that if they're not playing, if they are just coming back from training, to stick around and catch the win days, because that's going to boost them quite highly. It's not saying it gives it a legitimacy, but into some people, it does. You know, if the men's saying it's okay, then they can come down because the men said it was okay.
Yeah.
But it also emphasises that one club, one family thing.
I think as well, one thing that I really liked was last season when Antonio and Cole came down. It was like as soon as they turned up, everybody turned away from the game, stopped watching it, and wanted autographs. When Sebastian Haller was there, he actually made it sure that he didn't cause too much distractions. He just went straight up the top, sat down and had security around him, and let everyone watch the match. I think that's a really important aspect to have.
Yeah, it was brilliant. In fact, I didn't even realise he was there until you pointed him out. You literally you went, "Oh, Haller's over there," and I was like, "Oh, what? Where?" And it took me a minute. Oh yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
It was that subtle sort of, and that's what we need. I think is just again, it gives that sort of legitimacy to certain people. Right, got to talk about it. We've been dodging it enough. Game next week. It's a huge match against Arsenal in the FA Cup. What are our chances?
I'll tell you what, I actually think now, after Arsenal's result last week against Chelsea, they are the worst team to play at this time for me in the Cup. I think they're going to be looking for a reaction on Sunday because of the result they had last week. But I can, there's something about this game that I can see us winning this. I don't know what it is. I had the same feeling against Manchester United, but I can really see us causing an upset today. So, sorry, Sunday. So, look, you know, the FA Cup is full of surprises, and let's hope we can cause one on Sunday.
Yeah, I think the way we can do it is we need a back five. Matt, if you're watching, we need a back five. 2, we need to cut the playing out from the back. I know it's in vogue right now. I know it's the thing that managers are saying that they've got to do and things like that. But when you've got players such as Niedermeyer, when you've got players such as Kim Little and Danielle van der Donk and all those Arsenal players that have got pace, Beth Mead that can come at you, doing a silly little back pass there is how they're going to get the ball scored. It's happened. It's happened to us countless times at Arsenal. It happened when they came to our gaff last year. It happened to us when we were at their gaff last year, and it happened again to us this year. We've got to cut out the playing from the back.
I think one thing we do have to cut out as well, that we did in the first the last 20 minutes against Arsenal in the game in September, was we paid them too much respect and we sat back too much.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you've got players that Arsenal have, you know, if you give them too much time, it's okay, I'm going to take a long shot and I'm going to score. Simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, one thing we got a lot of success out of from when we scored against Arsenal, and we continued through that, was the high press, pressing them from midfield and really quick counter-attacking football. And I think that's the way we're going to beat them. I'm going to you asked me for my lineup soon. I think we have to go for a counter-attacking lineup, a counter-attacking system, and the back five is the only way forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We do seem to be without a defined striker at the moment, which could be a bit of an issue. So you suggested that we'd put Lehman up in that top position and feed her through that way, and then we'd also have Simic to start. Do you reckon that's the best way?
Well, in my lineup I have here is I'd actually go for a 5-4, a 5-4-1 formation with Lehman up top. I think we switched her to like a centre forward role on Sunday when she scored them 2 goals, and I think her pace down that central area really does play dividends, and we can counter attack really quickly with her up top. and I think she really does cause a big threat up top. However, there is an argument of starting Little John.
Yeah.
It's an FA Cup game. I think I would have one eye on Chelsea in the league as well. So I think our lineup may be changed a little bit.
Yeah, we've actually got a question from one of our viewers who has said, could Little John be our dedicated striker? I want to see what she can do. We signed her back in like October. She played about 15 minutes at the end of a Reading game, and that's it. I've not seen her play since. So it will be interesting to see if we can get her to like actually what she can do, because she's a world-class player. She's played for Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland internationally. She's played for Arsenal. She's played for all sorts of teams. It'd be good to see what she could actually do.
See, I think she could be. However, for Sunday, I really now do want to see Lehmann at centre forwards. I think she posed so much threat when she was up top against Brighton, and I think we've really got to execute that. And I think we've got to have a game plan. And I think Lehmann up top, with the way we played on Sunday with that same system, is the way to execute the game plan against Arsenal.
Okay, so who would you have on the wing then? Because we normally use Alicia on the wing, and we've not got Leon because she's on international. We've not got Ko either because she's also on international.
See, my lineup's going to surprise quite a lot of people, actually. I'd have Kiss and Kiernan both on each wings.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think, like I said last week, I would prioritise the league. So I think we need to have a lineup that does that, because we've got Chelsea next week, and I can't emphasise with how tight that bottom race is. If we slip up or we don't get a point against Chelsea, it could drag us right back into that race.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was saying this earlier. We in the league wise, we're actually got some nice breathing space because we're 4 points clear. We're 4 points behind. Who is it? This is it. Tottenham. We're 4 points behind Tottenham, and then we're 5 points behind Reading. So, and we've got 2 games in hand. So we need to capitalise on that because both Tottenham and Reading lost last week. So that's going to be key for us. But also, we're only 4 points above Brighton, and we're only like 5 points above Birmingham and Liverpool. And that factor, we've really got to, like you said, get a point out of Chelsea at least. We can do it. We've done it. But again, so it is. So where would your focus be? Is your focus going to be on the FA Cup and try and repeat what we did last year, or is it going to be focus on the league?
I think for me, because of the fact we got to the final last year, and because Arsenal is such a tough game, I think you've got to go strong against Arsenal, but you've also got to have the eye on the league this season, because we've got to, for me, finish in the top half of the league with the players we have. I think, anything below that would be, and Matt will feel this as well, I think being anywhere below that would be an underachievement for us. And I think the fact that we've got Chelsea, for us to get a point against Chelsea or to beat them, we have to have our best player on the pitch at full pace for 90 minutes. And I think asking players to do that against both Arsenal and Chelsea back to back is a big ask.
Absolutely. So Pete, our wonderful friend who provides all of our stats, has come up with a great suggestion. In the fact, we've got no striker, just put all 11 players behind the ball and then take it to penalties, because we haven't lost. We lost competitively against Tottenham on penalties, but obviously the infamous Reading game with the FA Cup, we managed to take it down to penalties, and Arsenal don't do as well on penalties, and they've been knocked out a few times when it's gone down to that. So that's not a bad idea, Pete.
Pete just gave away my game plan.
So yeah, manager Pete, that's not a bad idea. Now we have another question that is not women.
Pete to replace Phil Neville. Come on, Pete.
Yes, Pete knows more about the women's game than Phil Neville does, trust me. So it should definitely be. Though he'd probably try and sign Caroline Weir to England, even though she's Scottish.
Be a great move if she did. If he did, sorry.
So we have another question that's not to do with women's football, but it's an interesting one because obviously I'm wearing the luminous yellow that is our goalkeeper's kit. Is it true back in the day all keepers had to wear green? I believe so. I believe it, unlike, when you see these fancy kits now and it's the same with the boot, I believe that the keeper's colour was indeed green. Why green? I don't know. Maybe it's because there was no team in green. But I do believe that it was the keeper's kit to be in green.
Yeah, I think that was actually the case because no team used to play in green.
Norwich. Everybody forgets about you. It looks like Pete wants to take over Shelley Kerr's job. He wants to be the Scottish manager.
I think that'll be a tough ask, Pete. I think Phil Neville's a bit more realistic at this point.
So that's the highlights of the West Ham game. But now we've got to talk about the big thing, which is the transfer window, which closed today at 5. There's been some surprises, some not so surprising moves. Big one is Manchester United didn't do any business at all. They put one player out on loan and then recalled another player back from loan. And that was it.
Who'd want to sign for Manchester United anyway?
Oh, you're going to get so beaten up. Casey wanted to keep it she was happy with the player she's got, and she wanted to get. I thought she'd put a couple more out on loan than she has. Only Molly Green has gone to Sheffield. But yeah, they've not really done any business. And even more surprisingly about a team that hasn't done any business is Birmingham, a team that is struggling massively in the league. They've only just managed to get a win. And that's against fellow strugglers, Bristol, I believe. So they're not doing fantastic. You'd think that they would try and strengthen their very young squad, and nothing.
Yeah, I think the transfer window has been mixed. I think it's been a bit lackluster this year as a whole. I was surprised that Birmingham didn't add anyone to their team. A lot of the teams in that relegation battle today have strengthened. However, let's talk about our business. I think Grace is actually going to be the best signing out of the WSL winter window for any team on recent performances. The fact that Brooke left, Grace is now a vital signing, and she's proven to be one of our best players at this moment in time. And then Philippa Walling, we've seen 45 minutes of Philippa. She was absolutely superb as well. Again, I think she turned 20, was it?
Yeah, both her and Alicia are very young.
That's another young player that we can bring through with leaps of potential and looks fantastic. On Sunday, the only thing I'm a bit disappointed at is that we didn't sign a striker, but I keep on reminding myself that we do have Little John there. So I think
you have strikers. We just need to give them a bit of a go, I think.
So yeah, I think it's been a positive transfer window for us. I think, but as a window as a whole, it has been a bit underwhelming. However, I think the team that probably has had the best window is actually Everton. Everton
have managed to get a good couple of solid players in the fact they've got Izzy Christensen signed at the beginning of this window, and also they've managed to get Hayley Rasso over. Is she a Thorns player, dear?
She was it.
Yeah, so she was at Portland Thorns. In fact, it's quite sad at Portland Thorns in the fact that their manager seems to have split the Great Four partnership. With Sonic going over to Orlando, and a few others have been split up from Portland. But yeah, so Everton have done fantastic. Arsenal haven't done as well as they'd hoped. because, West Ham, always the trendsetters. We always are. There's now an Australian invasion in the FAWSL. And we started it with Jacinta. But obviously there's the very famous Australian in Sam Kerr, who signed for Chelsea in this window. And then
I got a bit bored with that Sam Kerr signing in the end. It was like every day somebody was
fed up with it. We all got fed up with it. Like when they did the whole Arsenal versus Chelsea, it's Miedemar versus Kerr, and I was like, not a lot happened really.
I think the thing that like really frustrated me is when I was watching the women's football show. It was like every goal Miedemar scored. Well, Sam Kerr can do that. It just got so boring in the end.
Exactly. Unless you're in top three, you don't get a mention. The surprising ones to do business was Bristol, because they seemed to not do anything for most of the transfer window, and then we had a flurry of about 4 signings in 2 days.
Yeah, I think them 4 signings as well in the relegation battle. They lost to Liverpool last week. So them players have now got to come in and make a big impact in a short amount of time. However, I think that out of all the signings that's happened towards the bottom of the league, I think it strengthened the league as a whole package now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we have a couple more questions or statements, maybe. Joyful Pete says, do Chelsea need any more players? No, is the simple answer.
Yeah, I think if they attract any more players, I don't think they'll have enough space on their team coaches.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Though, the more players Chelsea sign, the better it can actually work out for us, because a lot will get frustrated about the lack of game time. A lot of them are settled in London. They don't quite want to move. We could get an Emma Mitchell style move like we did from Arsenal to Spurs. I'm just saying we could end up with a good few cracking players that are currently sat on Chelsea's bench. I'm still waiting out for Hannah Blondell. I think Hannah Blondell's a fantastic left back. I know we've got our new one, but we could do with strengthening that position. And she was Raf's replacement at Chelsea, and I think she could be a good shout to be our Raf's replacement. Another question. Well, Daniel agrees in saying that Chelsea shouldn't be allowed any more players because they could actually probably fill about 4 teams. Though they have managed to get rid of a few goalkeepers because they did have an abundance of those.
I remember last year, Ali, he was just moaning about the amount of keepers Chelsea had. I mean, it was just getting ridiculous.
I don't need that many keepers. They had 4 at one point. Like, I still feel sorry for Carly Telford. I don't know why Carly Telford stays at Chelsea, because she's been there for years and she keeps getting second keepered.
Yeah, I'd actually have odds on her maybe joining the NWSL, actually.
Yeah, that's possible. Might as well, last bit of her career. Osborne also says that we could maybe get Backman. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? To have,
we've been waiting 2 transfer windows.
We want Backman, but
so hopefully in the summer.
The summer is the place where you get the most positive transfers. We have a question from Daniel, which is that Bristol seems to have brought in more in a few players to fight relegation. Maybe West Ham's men's team could take a leaf out of their book. You'd think. You would think.
I'm not going to speak about the West Ham men's team because as I came on this show, Ali will back me up on this. I did look like I was about to cry. And talking about them right now will make me cry. So let's not talk about the men's team today.
He did. Pete has also mentioned the fact that you can't beat the fact that United have 5 keepers on their books currently. In their defence, one of them is very heavily pregnant. But So it's quite surprising. Some teams have done a lot of business, a lot of them haven't. You would think that Birmingham would want to strengthen their currently very young squad, but also it's a miracle they've actually managed to keep all of their players, because I was pretty sure that Lucy Stedderforth might try and make another break for it.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think if Birmingham go down, I think I would really like us to take an early sweep
At
to get
Stanford.
Lucy in, because she'd be phenomenal in our midfield with Darley and Longhurst.
Yes, that would actually be a nice dream team. We do love Lucy Stanford. So yeah, there's been some great moves, and of course, there has been a deadline signing for Brighton. They've managed to pick up I believe she's an Irish international.
Yeah,
So they're strengthening as well. So it does look like the only team that hasn't strengthened, that's in the bottom like relegation race, is Birmingham. And like I said, I don't know if it's because they're going through some financial issues at the moment with their men's team, or which is why they haven't. But I know a lot of Birmingham fans are not happy about the lack of action this January.
to be honest, Ali, I think they're banking on Stanforth and their manager's experience and class to keep them up.
And don't forget Brie. We love Brie. Don't forget Brie either.
Hasn't Brie just come back from injury?
She has, yeah. She wasn't injured, she was ill, but yeah, she's
Okay.
She's just come back from that. And finally, before we log off, we have got the answer to the keeper kit question. Both Pete and Daniel have answered. Pete tells us that you are right, Reese, that it's simply because the law of averages. There was only a couple of teams that wore green, which is why a goalkeeper was always wearing a green shirt. And Daniel said that the reason nobody wore green until the advent of the Premier League, but then the refs started wearing that colour, which is why you now have the multitude of highlighter colours that we see today. So we're always learning on this show. Always learning. Oh, we have a couple more questions. We can keep this going. We have no time limit, so this can go on forever. Realistically, what players would you like to see play for us? I've mentioned mine in the fact that it's Hannah Blondell. I would love to see her come for us as left back, because she's a cracking player and she's not getting her fair shot at Chelsea. So it would be good to see Anna Blondell. And I do think we could get her. I do think, if we can promise her some like first team game time, then we've got a good shot. I'd love to see Brie back, but that's just me being biased.
I'd like, I've said it the last 3 shows, Uma Tong I'd love to see us get. Stanforth as well. And probably if it came to the stage where she got back from injury and Arsenal was willing to let her go, Carter.
Yes, Danielle Carter is a fantastic player. I actually would like us to get some big beefy defenders as well, because we've got quite short defenders. So Jen Beattie, if you get bored at Arsenal, we're only down the road. Just saying, I think you'd look quite good in Claret and Blue. So yeah, if you get bored at Arsenal, then you can come down. Or even Emma Mitchell, if she wants to come play for another London club,
And Ali can be your agent, so there's another great addition there.
I'm so good at all of this stuff, so great. Fine. Okay, we're going to finally end on something fun, which was a question by Tone, who is one of our viewers, who also brought up the good question about the goalkeepers, which is, let me see if I've got the question. There we go. What is a better film, The Firm or Green Street?
Green Street.
Well, even when you've got the Hobbit, who has never been a football hooligan in his life.
Yeah, don't care. Green Street.
Okay, so yeah, for me, I'm going to go for The Firm. It's cheesy, it's like bad, but it's, if you're feeling like you need a bit of an aggression outlet, then you should definitely watch The Firm with the 1980s like Lacoste polo shirt. Oh, it's cheesy and but it's brilliant. So you guys keep giving us questions. We're trying to sign off, let you get on with your evening, but you keep giving us more questions. Haha, Matthew agrees with me. The firm because Green Street sucks. Thank you very much, Matthew.
Okay, I'll go around Rush Green and have a tally chart with me on
Yeah, exactly. Next
Sunday.
time But yes. So we've got so Peter said, have you thought about filming your road trips, Ali? And if so, where can you see them? Plug. Thank you, Pete. For those who don't know, I have set up my own YouTube channel. Don't worry, I'm still going to stay loyal to the American Hammers. They are going to work out a way that we can incorporate both. Because for those that don't know, I do travel quite a way to get to the West Ham women, and a lot of random things happen to me on these routes. And I've tried writing about them, but I'm getting lazy. Let's not lie. So me and Kate have started filming the ridiculousness. The first one is up, and the second one is going, which was the last week's game, is going up after this. I will tweet a link, and you can watch the ridiculousness, especially last week's, because my voice was going, because that's when I started getting laryngitis. So I start off quite normal, and then it goes and it goes and it goes, and then gone.
In the opposite direction.
I mean, you did shout quite a bit on Sunday still, Ali, so
Oh yeah,
no wonder why.
shut me up. I got laryngitis last season, and I just made a sign, and then Raf came
And
over.
for the first half against Arsenal, don't forget them mittens, please.
Okay, in trouble. Yes, I got in trouble if I do. See, we're getting all these answers now about the films and stuff like that. Daniel says that the original TV version of the film with Gary Oldman is brilliant, but the remake, not so much. I don't think I've seen the original. I think I've only ever seen the remake. And Pete says the only football film he's ever seen is Escape to Victory. Does that count? Yes, because it's got Bobby Moore in it. So yes, it does.
Well, just because it's got Bobby Moore in it, of course it does. Right? Better than both them films.
Exactly. It's got Bobby Moore and Pele in it. What more do you need in a football film? Okay, I think we have exhausted all of your questions. My voice is still going, so I need to have a little bit of voice left, at least for the rest of the week in my job. So that is all from us tonight. We'll be back next week. Oh, I'm being schooled on my Man City stuff now. Apparently Mike Summerby, former City player, is also in Escape to Victory. I've met Mike Summerby. He's a very nice man. So we're going to leave you there with that. We'll be back next week, where we will be talking about the FA Cup. Hopefully it will be with high spirits, but we shall see. And we'll also give a preview to the Chelsea away game, which is also going to be a very tough fixture. So yeah, that's goodbye from me.
A goodbye from me. And I'm going to ask Pete and obviously you in the week, Ali, about maybe setting up a We Are the Girls in Claret and Blue Twitter page.
Yes, absolutely. That would be great. So yeah, you can follow us there. We can tweet you when we're going live. And so therefore you don't have to see my other ridiculous things on Twitter, and the same with Reese. So he's a bit more controlled than I am. I go on social media rants.
I mean, unless it's about a Mark Noble rant against Sheffield United.
Oh yeah. We talked about last week where my mother wanted your head for being so rude about Mark Noble.
Lucky she didn't see me watching the Leicester game last night.
I'm sure she probably agreed with you though, to be fair. Right. Thank you very much, guys, for staying with us, and we'll see you all next week.
See you next week, guys. Bye-bye.